I'm Ethan. I am the owner and promoter of Divine Pro Wrestling, but I am definitely not the most important one at the show. You are drinking at Moe's.
This is Drinkin at Mo's, where we talk about the pros of pro wrestling in the Midwest while sipping on some brews with blessed beers and wrestling. That's my scene. Death matches and lucha libre, it's all so mean. I'm a straight up smart goofball, not no kiss ass. I stand tall when it comes to wrestling. I'm the king. I know every move, every fling. Get ready for a wild time with Drinkin at Mo's, where we don't quit. Drinkin at Mo's, that's where it's at, like a power bomb. We hit hard, never flat. Fucking right, we're living the dream. Talking about wrestling, know it's a scream.
You know, I've always said here at Drinkinatmos, just because it says drinking at Moe's does not mean it has to be alcoholic. So I'm happy to say Drinking at Moe's is sponsored by Prince Nana Coffee. The, the exact same guy you see every week on Dynamite, on Collision. Yes, he has his own coffee and it's freaking delicious. They don't even roast those beans until you've placed your order. And you might be telling me, hey, Big Mo, I'm more of a tea guy. They got you covered there too. Use the referral link in the description of this video. And let's get you dancing like Prince Nana with Prince Nana Coffee. All right, everybody, welcome Drinking a Mo's. Big Mo here. You know the drill. YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good shit. Don't forget about the damn notification bell so you don't miss a damn thing. Don't forget about the audio platforms. Today, I am welcoming back Ethan from Divine Women's Pro Wrestling. Got a big event coming up June 20th. I'm excited because, I've had some people from Divine on in the past couple weeks. I know Annie O'Neill. That was a fun one. I know I've seen Lilith Grimm on the event poster, so I'm excited to see her out there. That was another fun interview. We actually talked quite a bit about Divine on that one.
I am very excited. Lilith is somebody, because okay, so we're old friends, right? This is my third time. I think the fourth time I get a punch card, the fifth time I get like a members only jacket that you found at Goodwill or something like that. One of those things. So Lilith is an interesting case. Lilith is somebody who I have been wanting to have on a Divine show for quite a while now, actually since about January of last year. Um, so we had Alice Lane, who is a notable TNA referee. She also has refed at you name it. Will elevate your show as a referee. And I know people will be like, well, referees aren't supposed to be noticed. Right. But she's so good at her job you can't help but notice her. The Steve Macklin thing that was making the rounds a while
Oh
back.
yeah.
That's Alice. That's and every bit of professional that you see is the exact person that Alice is. However, so Alice had worked for us for a show and recommended Lilith to come in. So we just kind of everything wasn't really falling into place for us. Lilith works a lot in Colorado. She's based out of there. And we were just trying to find the time to make it happen. Um, I believe Lilith was an OVW product at one time or has worked at
Yeah.
OVW. And that is how there was a little bit of a, I don't want to say a run in or anything, but a kind of a game recognized game situation. Ray Larson has been working down at OVW. Lilith was there. And they both noticed each other's work and decided they wanted to do battle. So I wasn't about to stop them from that. So
Hey,
we figured some stuff out and we made that happen.
that's gonna be a fun one. I know when I had her on, like I originally was gonna be having the recording with her around WrestleMania week. I had a few, but as happens, especially with as close as she was to where Mania was being held, she had something that she had to I think she was putting together a ring to get taken down there. That was kind of a time crunch, but hey, we ended up making it happen. It was just maybe a week or so later. It's still fun. Definitely looking forward to seeing how that match turns out, because I mean, she's a damn powerhouse.
She is. And this is, what's crazy about this? This Vinny Waves guy, he keeps messaging me, and you're going to know this from the last show. Vinny was there, tried to do some kind of forced takeover. He keeps messaging me with ideas. I'm like, Vinny, you got to give me a second, man. We're talking. We're at Drinkin on Moe's right now, man. I didn't put up my away message, anything. He's continuing to buy the company because he thinks it's for sale or something. I'm not really sure what that's all about. I'll get back to him later. Yeah, Lilith is a powerhouse. That's exactly it. The War Maiden, the Shield Maiden moniker that Lilith carries is that is true to form. Now, I'd like to say this, Lilith, from our past history here, Ray Larson taking on Danny Luna. Danny Luna, also a powerhouse, very much in the same vein as Lilith Grimm, and we did see Ray Larson defeat Danny Luna. So, just saying, don't overlook your competition going into that ring. I don't play favorites here, but I feel like that is definitely going to be way more of an even match than people might look like on paper.
Yeah.
But super excited to bring Lilith in. Something we try to do every show is bring new talent, and this show is no different. This show is flush with new talent, which is really, really fun. But we still definitely do have the fan favorites.
Oh yeah, nope. I can definitely see that. Speaking of, well, I don't know about so much fan favorite, but one that I know I've seen quite a bit on Divine shows, Heather Blue. Now, I know you mentioned there were some changes that have ended up having to be made. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I know she, at least from what I was seeing, was scheduled for a triple threat match of sorts.
That is, a triple threat is still in the works. So the changes that we've had to the card here, because of just everybody being able to find bookings. It's great. It is a wonderful thing. I think that's phenomenal. I love when people are able to find places to work. Absolutely no issues with that. That being said, one of our champions, Steffi Mack, was unable to make the show. They had prior obligations at a show that they are the champion on, that is running the same day in Indiana. Decent bit away. We wish her the best. We wish she was with us, but we totally understand she has a duty to fulfill. So with Steffi being unable to make the show, originally we were to have a tag match between Moist, fan favorites, Moist, and the returning Danny Jax, and the debuting to Divine, not to anything else, but to Divine, Andy Ripley from the Creeps, one half of Creeps. So what happened, we kind of had to move stuff around a little bit. Andy saw an opportunity to be an honorary member of MILF and Cookies, which is our tag queen champions, Juniper, Steffi Mack. So Andy is going to move up and partner with Juniper. We'll get to that momentarily. Danny Jax is actually going to fill in that third spot in the triple threat match with Heather Blue, the aforementioned Heather Blue, and Rory Shield, which I think is I don't believe those women have. I know that Rory and Heather have worked together plenty, worked against each other plenty, but I don't believe they've ever worked with, either one of them has ever worked with Danny in the past. So interesting situation. And Danny's always up for a fight. I mean this very sincerely. Again, like I said, I don't play favorites on anything. I don't understand why Danny's not booked more places. If you're looking for somebody, reach out, because Danny's cool. And I, just because obviously it's a wrestling podcast, so we're talking about that. I believe Danny also does intergender wrestling too, or mixed tag wrestling with Colton Quinn, which is her partner. So, or their partner. Apologies. So please check them out. I would love to put together a mixed tag show. I feel like I could do that. I have enough wrestling couples that I know. So, hey, maybe I will talk to our friends at Flow, and maybe we can see if we can make that happen.
Hey, I'm sure that could be made happen. I know Flo is going through a little. I mean, they're going strong. A little bit of a transition with Mr. Bullard having to retire a little bit sooner from the booking side of stuff than he might have liked. But if there's somebody out there that is definitely more than earned a retirement, Mr. Bullard definitely one of those guys.
Yeah, and it's in good hands with Sean and Scott and Pete. I think it'll be just fine. Um, I know Scott and Pete are pretty good on the promotional side of things. Sean has knowledge in booking on that side of things. Experienced referee as well. So his
Oh yeah.
history working at Exodus Pro, Horror Slam here in Michigan, also just a wealth of knowledge. Great Magic the Gathering deck builder as well. Just he is a Rube Goldberg machine. We can talk about Magic in a little bit because it does tie into the
Oh, it does. It does.
Divine the Gaythering. Um, anyway, yeah, so we've kind of covered a couple of matches. We can kind of circle back to some of these. Really quickly, I do want to let everybody know that now that the match with Danny and Andy is no longer, or Danny and Andy partnering against Moist is no longer happening. Moist has told me that they will be in the building. If you know them, that is both a welcome and a terrifying concept because I don't know what they're doing in the building. I don't know if they'll be in the walls of the building. I don't actually know where they're going to be at in the building, but they have assured me, and I can assure you, fans, that Moist will be there.
Oh boy. Yeah. No, that's definitely one of those things where it's like, oh boy, those two. It's like they're telling you they're going to be there, but then not exactly how or what they're doing. That uncertainty for a guy like me that admittedly has some damn anxiety issues, that would drive me up the fucking wall.
It's you had the you probably got out of the military and had a little bit of an issue there with like not having the stability, didn't you?
Little bit, yeah.
That structured life, you needed that. Yeah, they don't live that. They do not live that way. They'll probably have a couch with them, or they will find a couch. That tends to be their thing. They just furniture. Not. Oh, almost made a joke. Not going to do that. Anyway, they definitely they find furniture at places, intergalactic furniture, interstellar furniture, whichever one that is for them. Either way, they are just they're a blast to be around, but they will be in the building. Um, and then yeah, so we could talk about the tag queen match. We can circle
Oh,
back to that.
absolutely.
So another debut. So we've already hit Lilith Grimm is debuting. Danny Jax is returning. Andy Ripley from Creeps is debuting. Yet another debut that we have taking place there is for the Tag Queen Championships. Coming out of the Indiana region, we have Jensen and Ajax, the Daughters of Apocalypse. These are two sisters, actual sisters, which is a rare thing in wrestling because everybody, not like Kane and Undertaker. These are two biological sisters that have these are two biological siblings that have a connection. They don't shy away from anything. I know Jensen has been wrestling a little bit longer than Ajax, but has brought Ajax along. And it'll be a challenge to see if Milf and Cookies, the slightly modified version of Milf and Cookies, will succeed on this, or maybe Daughters of Apocalypse walk out with the tag crowns on their heads.
I was gonna say, seeing what I have of Jensen and Ajax, I'm like, Daughters of Apocalypse. That name just seems to fit. When you look at them, like there's definitely those tag teams out there that, like, when you hear the name and then you see who's in it, it's like, yeah, that name fits. That fits.
Is there anything better than a tag team that has matching gear? There's really not. Like, you think of all the great, and this kind of does bring up because Moist just got new tag gear. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. It's great.
I need
But
to.
like Jensen and Ajax, they have matching tag gear. This is not a knock on Junie and Steph at all. Theirs very much speaks to them as to who they are. Their gear speaks to them. So it's not a situation like that. I am happy that they have worked as a tag team outside of Divine. I think that that's incredible that Divine was able to create something that has now stretched outside of there. Um, but so you think of all like the great tag teams of the time. Maybe not a great example now, but like the Steiner brothers, Legion of Doom, Demolition, which is I think should be held in the same talk as them, but for some reason is always kind of just like a bar lower. The Natural Disasters is another one that I think should be held in a little bit higher regard than they probably are. You know, what's it? Chad Gable and Jason Jordan.
Mm.
You know, teams like man, matching tag gear is great. But yeah, so that is a tag queen championship match. Those only ever get defended at Uplift. I know we have not ran outside of Uplift in a minute. I have heard the noise. I understand. I read comments. Trust me, I am very up on what goes on. And if I'm not up on it, Annie O'Neill is up on it. The role of general manager is not taken lightly, and it is not just purely an in-ring on-screen deal. Annie is very involved in letting me know what the pulse of the community is, which is great because just absolutely invaluable. I do want to give a moment to give some time to everybody that helps behind the scenes.
Oh yeah,
But we can continue with the debuts before we get to our main event.
definitely.
So currently, resident kind of wild child for us, Ricky Morris is always up to whatever. You can message Ricky and be like, "Hey, we're gonna book you in this match," and you get either a passive aggressive thumbs up, you get the Paulie Walnuts finger point thing, or it's just a yeah, what do you got? And so that was kind of what we got this time. Ricky is going to take on the making their Divine debut, Badger Briggs, wrestling.
Very familiar with Badger Briggs, yeah.
Time Bomb Pro, first wrestling out of Minnesota. Badger brings I don't know if Ricky looked at any of Badger's work before she said yes. I'm glad she did because I think this is going to be a big test for Ricky. But yeah, the first ever picture I saw of Badger was and you'll know the one where they're in the ring and just absolutely sheet of blood. And I went, wow, that's really cool. And then so I was like, how do we make Badger be part of Divine? And so then I just sent a message. Because then sometimes, hey, listen, promoters, if you're watching this, or literally anybody in life, sometimes just send the message. Just send the message. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to get back. I will tell you this. The majority of people are just normal ass people. They're normal people. They will talk to you. If you think that somebody is bigger than if you think that somebody is larger than life, they might be. Trust me, you'll run into somebody like that. You'll run into a Virgil that thinks that they're the biggest thing ever. But then you're also going to get a lot of people that are real humble, real people, and are very open to different situations, talking to you, planning things out, booking somebody on a show. You have a better shot if you just message them than you do if you don't.
Yeah,
it seems really simple.
Oh yeah, and not to cut you off there, but not to give any spoilers because obviously I haven't nailed down a date with the person yet, but something we talked about before we started recording very much fits that. I just said, screw it, I'm going to shoot my shot, and then wouldn't you know, I actually heard back from the person.
You would trust me. I have so many, and most of them get left unread. They're probably in a spam folder somewhere. But I know that the more and more that we tick up the number of Divine, the more that we tick that up, the more that people see that number, and I hate that it's follower count that happens on things, but the more that that number goes up, the more people take notice of us. The more people that follow us and reshare the things, they take notice of us. Right before we got on here, I commented from the Divine page on Facebook, which is where we have more followers at, but I think Instagram does more traffic for us. Algorithms, what's up with that?
Yeah.
Um, so before we did that, Follow the Revolution, which is a page, they've got 58,000 followers. It's not all about follower count, people. It's not. But I know that there's real people behind that page. I know that there's two people. There's two people. That's it. They don't have other admins. They took a notice. They followed our page. If they reshare something from our page that goes out to 58,000 people, that could be a bunch of bot accounts, but all it takes is one person to see your stuff.
Yep.
Look at how things go viral. Look at what's happening right now with Danhausen. Somebody
That's
that I went to the same wrestling school as Danhausen, House of Truth, Centerline, Michigan, rip. Um, I went to the same school as Danhausen. This dude's out here uncursing the Knicks, which, depending on when this airs, could either be a good thing or a bad thing.
yeah.
It's he's out there outselling Cody Rhodes on merchandise, outselling Roman Reigns on merchandise. The guy is doing numbers, and it's all because he took a chance on himself. So the best thing I can tell to
Fine.
anybody in any realm, any walk of life, pro wrestling or otherwise, sometimes take the chance on yourself.
Mhm.
If
Most
you
definitely.
believe if you believe it, you have a better chance of making other people believe it.
Oh yeah. No, most definitely. That's how, like, I've always enjoyed everybody that I've had on, but like some of those names that I'll admit maybe I thought were probably a bit out of reach for me, I just said screw it. I'll never know if I don't ask.
That's true, and that's how it works. But speaking of the believing in yourself, that'll take us to our main event.
Yes.
Somebody who believes in themselves, and you can listen to their most recent interview on LGBT in the Ring. I think they did an interview, which is like sponsored by Outsports or whatever. Which, again, shout out to Outsports for covering Divine. They put us in their list of Pride shows. I thought that was incredible.
Oh yeah.
We've been mentioned in their QWI 200 the last 2 years, and it's really cool. But
Oh yeah.
I never thought that any of that stuff would happen. I've always seen us as like a lower tier thing, and we're just trying to build our footing, real grassroots style, right?
Yeah.
But somebody that has done that, somebody that believes in themselves vehemently, somebody that doesn't let other people tell them no, is the Divine Pro Champion Storm Garcon.
Oh yeah. No. High fan of them for sure. Like that consistently amazing work.
Just people, you can be in wrestling and you'll get the fans that talk about work rate and talk about this and talk about that. Everything that Storm does, there's a reason that Storm calls that she calls herself the elevator. That there is a taking it and raising it to the next level, going above, going beyond. It's like Nigel from Spinal Tap. It goes to 11. Well, why not just make 10 louder? Because it goes to 11. It's Storm goes out of her way to make people uncomfortable about how good she is. And it works because it makes people take notice that normally wouldn't give Storm the time of day. Um, and people are coming around to that fact. What's more impressive to me is when Storm turns it up and somebody is able to stand there and turn it up with her. And I
Yeah.
think that's what you're going to see with Carter Kaufman. I watched Carter have a match with Leela Hall to get the number one contendership. So back at whose clothesline is it anyway? Their names were drawn out of the mystical gourd, which I thought I had it over here. I was going to bring it out and make an appearance. The mystical gourd of truth or reconciliation or whatever it's called. So their names were pulled from that. They had an incredible match. Leela Hall is obviously no slouch, making waves for herself across the country. But that night, Carter Kaufman had her number, and Carter came out on top. Storm and Carter are no stranger to one another. They have both worked. They're both indie natives. They both, or well, yeah, they both live in Indianapolis area. Sometimes they've ridden together. You know, you ride in a car with somebody, you're going to learn things about them. You're going
Oh,
to
yeah.
take note of things that they say, things that they do, mannerisms that they have.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I think this is a match that's been a long time coming. I think Carter has proven herself. She recently had a match here in Michigan at Chaos Wrestling against against Ray Larson.
Oh, yeah.
Um, you know, that we talked about earlier, and Ray did come out victorious on that end, but Carter had, you know, and Ray elevates people as well. Ray brings the best out of people when they wrestle her. And I think Carter looked at that and went, "Hey, this is probably a warm up to what I'm getting with Storm. So I'm gonna catch, you know, I'm gonna figure this out. I need to catch this." And I that was some fire, and I think we're gonna see more of the same. I think that, you know, Storm is always defending the championship with the most honor, I guess is probably the best way to put it. I don't know of I don't know of another. I believe that the Divine Pro Championship is very special to Storm, as all of them are. But I feel like trust me, I haven't. Let's put it this way: I haven't touched that belt, which is fine. As a promoter, it's not mine to touch.
Yeah.
But like even at the show, it's this, like there is a level of security that Storm feels when she has the Divine Pro Championship in her hands, and I think that puts her to a different level when she fights for it.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think that I think Carter's going to be a big test for her. They just knowing somebody personally, it takes it to a different level.
Oh, yeah. No, when you have that connection outside of the ring, it only adds to what could happen than the magic that could happen inside. It's just like you already know how they think outside, so if you get the experience with them in there, it's amazing. Like it's been proven throughout wrestling history. You know, when two people know each other outside, only adds to the magic they can build in there.
Absolutely. And realistically, anyone that wins that match is going to have to look over their back. A match that we talked about earlier, and I forgot to say this, I have announced it, but a match that we talked about earlier, speaking of Magic the Gathering, we have a match called the War of the Spark. Well, technically, it's a War for the Spark in this case. We want to be legally ambiguous.
Yeah.
But that is between Ray Larson and Lilith Grimm.
Ooh.
So they come out of that, and that is a spark. The spark is a pendant, and it can be cashed in at any time for a championship shot of their choice. Very much think Money of the Bank style.
Yeah.
Minus the ladder match, because if we were to run a ladder match, there would be a step ladder match. Um, but think of that. I mean, that's something that's going to have to be hanging over the head of those competitors. They know that no matter what happens at the end of that match, there is somebody that could immediately cash in on them. So if they take each other to the limit, if they get to that point, that could be a very short title. If it changes hands, Carter could have a very short title reign. If it doesn't change hands, Storm, it could be dealing with a situation where they have to, you know, they have to make the best defense possible. Or maybe, you know, maybe Lilith or Ray, whomever holds it, maybe they're going to go out on a little bit of a cerebral game. They're going to hold on to it, choose their time, see when the best option is.
Oh yeah, no, we've definitely seen people with similar situations like that do a little bit of both. We've seen some amazing cash-ins the same damn night, and we've seen it happen where it's literally almost a year later and towards the end of the show, and then all of a sudden, boom, there they go, and then they
we've seen the Sheamus, we've seen the Seth Rollins WrestleMania, you know, we've seen those happen, and that's not something to be put past. Who knows? Maybe Ray and Lilith take each other to the absolute limit and decide that, you know what, even though I won this, I'm not wasting the opportunity. I want to be fresh when I do this. It could be a possibility. We don't know what's going to happen. And obviously, as Divine, we have sister promotions that we work closely with, Flow being one of them. Who knows? maybe that gets defended there. Heck, the Divine Belt was defended at Pride Power Pro Wrestling down in Cincinnati at the Ron Geist Brewery for Cincinnati Pride last year in
I did.
November.
I did remember that. Yeah.
That was between Storm Darsan and Juniper Gates. So who knows?
Yeah.
Say somebody shows up on a show that Storm is defending the belt on, which again, I have been very adamant about. Storm is more than welcome to defend the belt anywhere at any time. I have full faith that Storm will continue to bring the belt back to Divine. And if they don't, then we have a champion that is really deserving because Storm's on a generational run right now, as the youth say.
Oh yeah, no, very much so. She is doing amazing things. Now, we mentioned the name of the show, Magic, or not. Wow, I had it in my head. Divine the Gaythering. Now, very much similar to a game I know you and I both enjoy. Yep, I've been sorting through some stuff myself. Now, one thing that I know I've talked with our friend Peapod on this, and it's a question that thought I'd bring up to you.
Of course.
With all of the crossovers and the Universes Beyond sets that have been coming out, which I mean, yeah, I went a little bit nuts on the Ninja Turtle one, I will admit. But
hey, you got your super shredder though.
Yeah, that I safeguarded the hell out of that thing. Like I got that fractured foil and the regular of that card. But leads me to my question that like I said, I've asked Peapod this. Pro wrestlers that you think would fit well on a Magic the Gathering card. Now, I've gotten, we could even go into moves that might fit. But I know I have a few in my head, wanted to see it, maybe you think of some of the same.
So I think clearly your first shot that you go with, and the way that Universes Beyond has opened Magic up to all kinds of different eras and different genres, especially with things like Star Trek coming into play, where it's a lot of humans. In the Marvel set that's happening, you can kind of throw wrestlers in there anywhere. I mean, Spider-Man had a card called Professional Wrestler,
Yeah.
So you can fit anything. I think up front, the things that you would look at first are the supernatural style characters.
Yeah.
Your Undertaker, your Bray Wyatt, your Abyss. I think Abyss would be a cool one. I think some of your tag team guys that were a little wild now, they're getting Demolition. We'll bring them up again. People like that. I think Danhausen, Hornswoggle. Even though it's not great, maybe like the Giant Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Another one that just to me screams Magic card would be Gobbledygooker.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or Shockmaster. Some of the really bad decisions of like early '90s WWF.
Oh
yeah. A really bad 1-drop 1/1 with like some kind of negative downside to it would be Disco Inferno. Because fuck that guy.
Yeah,
I have no problem. I try to not swear on these things, but man, I hate Disco Inferno. Here's the crazy thing: I'd tell him to his face.
Oh, I would. Not like I think I'd ever actually end up meeting him, but I would.
And then some of the other ones on there. You could do. I think specifically what you have to look at is people that had really cool nicknames as well. So like Beth Phoenix being the Glamazon.
Oh,
I think the Glamazon would be a dope card.
Oh, for sure.
Luchadors also. I could get down on like a Luchador reskin set. I think that would be cool, just because of the masks and the history behind it, and the almost supernatural aspect of things. Like, imagine you had a Mil Muertes card, right?
That would be
like. or a Vampiro. Vampiro would be
Ooh,
another one.
Vampiro, yeah.
Vampiro, La Parca, Mil Muertes, Blue Demon Jr., Dr. Wagner, things like that.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I know in my head when thinking of Bray Wyatt, like obviously, yeah, that would be one that I would definitely dig. And it just got me thinking of when thinking about like what colors he would be, got me thinking back to his statement about him being the color red in a world full of black and white. It's like
well, it'd be Mardu.
why not make him all three, red, black, and white?
Yeah, he'd be Mardu. Because there was the there. Well, because what you have is you go into the color representations for things, and the black was always the death or dying or the macabre, and then red would be the aggro. But he always had that sense of justice when he didn't have the mask on. When you had like the play, the play or the fun house.
Yeah,
Um, so you had that level of white, that level of justice that he had, but then you would see that twist,
yeah,
with the puppets. Um,
and that look in his face when you could tell, like, oh shit, things are gonna turn.
or even because in being a Magic player, you know this, white might represent justice, but it doesn't mean that it's a good color. It doesn't mean that it's good.
Yeah,
Uh, oh, sorry. I'm
nah,
in the
you're
middle of
good.
doing something. I have my mother texting me about stuff. Anyway, so it's gotta love the being on the phone thing. Um,
Uh,
so as you know, white not always a good color. It doesn't mean it's a good thing. Phyrexians, like that's not in their way, they feel like they're mean. So even front porch sitting Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt, would represent to me white because he believes what he's doing is right.
oh yeah,
Um, and that would be where that comes in. Obviously, the red and black, the color scheme just fits. You have somebody like an Undertaker who I think you could argue could be mono black, but I also have a little bit. I feel like Taker, if you were going to make one straight card for it, should be Demir. I feel like there should be a little bit of blue in there because there was always this sense of being able to outsmart your opponent.
I can see that. I would have thought mono black myself, but I can see where you're going there. I can dig that.
I think you can go into four guys. So like if you were to reskin like Aragorn the Unifier, right? It's a four color commander. There's no black in it. It's white, red, green, blue. That's John Cena.
Ah, yeah.
Because even when he was a heel, he was a bad guy. He's still out there complimenting people, but he's like, "I'm still gonna beat you," and you're like, "Your heel run wasn't what we needed it to be." Speaking of Bray Wyatt, we needed you to do the NW, like you needed to be the guy to bring the NWO back. That's what John Cena's heel run needed to be, and it wasn't. And I know
Yeah.
people would have paralleled stuff to Hogan at that point. Um, and it's just, yeah, that's not the thing. Like you go on the red, white, and blue thing. Obviously, Kurt Angle is Jess guy, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't make Kurt Angle and not have him be and not have him be Jess guy. I
Oh
think
yeah.
it's less about. I think it's a little bit less about like what would a wrestler be of the card, more like how would they fit into their color identity, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um, then you got guys that like I feel like would be like so like a mono green guy, right? So like a Braun Strowman.
Mm.
I think he would be mono green. He's just big lumbering guy. I think Otis would be that way. Otis might be Gruel a little bit.
There's a few people that I can see fitting into, the kind of typical mono green, big hulking character. There's a few, but Braun Strowman definitely one that I could see in that.
Well, and then there's like so like you look at somebody. We'll bring up Danhausen because obviously it's talk of the town right now. I actually think Danhausen is more of a Rakdos. I don't think he has the black in him because I don't think it's a bad thing. I think he has the white, which is the good. He's chaotic good in my mind. A little
Yeah,
less. I could argue chaotic neutral, but I don't think he's chaotic bad. I don't think that there's any of that.
yeah,
Um,
I can see that.
you know, so I think that there's a little bit of, I think he would be a Rakdos because he does have the energy there, but like there's a little bit of spaz. You don't know what's gonna happen. Um, Trying to think of people that fit into other realms. I Simic would be probably the hardest one for me to find. Maybe like a Matt Stryker back in the day
Hmm.
because he had that intellect of like I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
I could see that a little bit. Wade Barrett would also be a Simic to
Hmm.
me. Nexus era Wade Barrett. Um, Trying to think of if there's anybody. Honestly, like Christopher Nowinski would be like the ultimate mono blue to me. Like just straight mono blue. Him or Lanny Poffo. Like
Mm.
those would be the guys that I would look at and say you're mono blue. The I have a You know what? I have another one that I would put forward as mono blue, and I can understand if somebody wanted to say something different. But I just thought the guy was so smart in the ring, and that's Alex Wright.
Mm. Okay.
Not Berlin, but just straight up Alex Wright.
Yeah.
Uh, it's He always was just because the dude was always he was two moves ahead of everybody, and he had to slow himself down because he
Yeah.
was just that good. It was crazy is he's only like 53.
Wow. That's crazy. I would have thought he was a little older.
Yeah, it's only in this like he's in his like early to mid 50s or something. The guy's not that old.
Wow.
Um, it's just that's how young he was when WCW took off.
Wow. Yeah, I guess I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Huh. Now, before we go, I know I have, well, before we get into uh, ticket information, or
Yeah, of course.
one more Magic the Gathering kind of question I have for you. I know I have, oh God, I wanted to say 10 or 11 decks right now that I've built. I only have one pre-con, it's the Ninja Turtle one, but I led me to think out of what, maybe you have a bunch that it'd be too hard to choose just one, but what are like a couple of your favorite decks that you've built?
Oh, um, looking around at the 23 of them that are sitting here right now. Favorite decks that I've built. Uh, so I have a janky mono red burn that's Ragavan piloted right now, but it's not it doesn't have to be the same commander. It could be any red legendary commander. It's not like any red legendary creature. Which I think there's six in the deck. I can make any of them the commander. The deck does not run better or
Yeah,
worse with any of that. I mean, I could argue that Ragavan runs it a little bit better because it's generating the treasure tokens right off the rip. But it doesn't need any of them to run. I have Imodane, Pyrohammer in there. I have an Alexios from the Assassin's Creed set in
mm,
there. Yeah, it can run any of the. I think I have a Gimli counter of kills in there as well. Um, it can do any of those. My other like my baby, and I don't know where my bag. Oh, my bag's upstairs with my deck in it, so I can't get that one. I have a Treebeard Generous Ent or Generous Host, Treebeard Generous Host, which is it's a 0/5 Selesnya. When it enters the field, it creates two food tokens. Um, and then when I gain life, I put +1/+1 counters on it. And it's also got trample and ward too. So I run that with an academy manufactor, and it generates the food
mm,
tokens plus the treasure tokens.
yeah,
So I can tap the treasures to crack the foods to to gain the life. And then it eventually it's pretty easy to get that one up to like 16 really quick. And then it usually gets killed by that point. But
yeah.
I'm still making people burn mana on ward. Um, that's one I really like. I have a really nasty mono blue mill deck. That's the Mind Skinner from Duskborn.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think of my favorite. I took one of them apart. I had Tom Bombadil. I'm a self Lord of the Rings fan.
Oh, okay.
Um, so I took my Tom Bombadil enchantment deck apart. which was really fun. But it was just everybody got tired of me reading a novel every turn. Um, and then I also had one that I called Battle Lines, which were just battles, like the siege
Mm.
battles
Yeah.
from Phyrexia and stuff. Uh, it was those and like 9 or 10 different ley lines. So I would open with like 3 cards on the field already.
Oh man.
And people are like, and no one has enchantment removal on the first turn. No one
Oh,
ever
yeah.
does. So a lot of the time you're stuck playing that. I got those. I have an I have an unmessed, like an untampered with precon moth. I have the Mothman precon.
Mm.
I like that. I also like the new Simic one, the Quandrix deck from
Okay.
Strixhaven. If you like math, it's a great deck. If you don't like math, it is a terrible deck. And then probably, oh, you know what? I do love playing SpongeBob, which is just Joe to the Unifier.
Yeah.
Um, but I kept all of the SpongeBob cards in there, like even the bad ones. So it's got like Force of Despair and Barktooth Warbearder in it, like the Patrick Star, which is bad, but when you play it with that, it's a 7 drop, so you get to cascade into something cool. I
Mm.
know it's not cascade, it's just the effect, but it's legendary cascade into something cool. It's just really fun to be able to give SpongeBob Excalibur and like, hey, SpongeBob's got a sword.
Yeah.
So he's, and he beefs himself up. So it's like you have a 16/6 coming at somebody with vigilance. Um, yeah, man, I just got a ton of decks around here. Um, that's pretty fun. And then my wife has, this is my wife's deck, but this is probably one of the two that she has that I really like playing. It's an
Oh.
Arabo Roar of the Worlds, but it's not the Commander 17 Precon. It's a straight up built one. The only card I'm missing in here is an Ocelot Pride, because I had the choice between an Ocelot Pride and an Esper Sentinel, and I bought her the Esper Sentinel for her Angels because it's maybe the best 1 drop card in all of Magic. Maybe. Dart, that like at least 1 drop creature. I think I could. It's the best 1/1 1 drop creature. Because the only other ones I can think that give it a run for its money are like Ragavan or Deathrite Shaman.
Mm.
Um, but I think Esper Sentinel is probably the best. Ocelot Pride's really good, but it was just I had to take the chance on that.
Oh yeah. No, I know. You brought up Academy Manufacturer. I actually just recently traded in a handful of cards, and that was one card that I picked up, and I actually put it in my one of my personal favorite decks is my Yardra Eater of All deck, where I just loaded it with a bunch of either food token producers or Death Touch, and that.
Yeah, and then my wife plays, so this is her favorite deck.
Mm,
Minsk and Boo, and then she's got a sweet little Boo token, a little stained glass
ah,
Boo
love
token.
it, love it.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's her favorite deck though, is Minsk and Boo. Um,
Nice.
she likes making the hamster big and throwing it at people.
That was kind of the way I won a game with my Deadpool deck. I actually had I have Jaws in there, and I loaded him up with different artifacts.
Jaws is ridiculous.
And I
That is an insane deck. As long as no one has a Vandal Blast,
yeah
because then they can kill the whole table.
I literally just kept on swinging Jaws at everybody, and then I ended up winning the game without ever having to bring Deadpool out.
Yeah.
But
So
that and my other favorite one is my Codis Fangkeeper from
yeah,
Tarkir Dragonstorm. My whole thing with that one is I'm making it to where as much as possible everything is like full or is like extended art or borderless. And
blinging it out.
I am so close. Like I kid you not, whenever I'm actually able to buy everything that's in my Card Kingdom cart right now, the only cards in that deck that will not be like borderless or extended art or just they just don't have a printing of that card that is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so close. But
Yeah.
going back, I mentioned before that ticket info for this show, June 20th, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Yes, June 20th, Ann Arbor, Michigan. You can come to Divine Pro Wrestling presents Divine the Gaythering. Yes, not the gathering, the Gaythering. Send me a C&D, Watsy, I dare you. I'll fold like a pair of freshly laundered pants. Because I don't have the money to stop you. But no, June 20th, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Divine the Gaythering. It's at Uplift. It is our home venue. They love us there. They want us back more than we can possibly run there, which is a great feeling, to be honest, to have a place like that. So tickets are $15 online. They are $20 at the door in cash. If you are in the area, we always take that. Parking is in the parking structure across the street, or there is a surface lot just down the road. We tried to keep the price lower because we do understand that parking does cost money there. With that said, there are drinks. There will be drink specials. I believe they're doing a Black Lotus special cocktail. I don't know what it is. I told them please blackberry something or anything that they can make a mocktail with would be great. You can get tickets. You can message the page for tickets. I will send you the link. Otherwise, the link is divineprowrestling.simpletix.com. Then we also, as a very quick thing, we have sponsorship opportunities available for this show, but it's not your classic sponsorship. It is not sponsor the show and then the money gets divvied out somewhere. We are very upfront, transparent on how everything works. You can get all the details on our website, but as simply as I can put, sponsorships are $50. 25 of that dollars goes to the charity that the wrestler that you are choosing represents. The other $25 goes to that wrestler. I don't see any of that money. The Divine does not see any of that money. It goes everywhere that it goes. And when you make that charitable donation, again, the wrestler gets 25. The charity gets 25, which is Friends of Michigan Animal Rescue, which is where I got 2 of my 3 pets from. They're great. I love them. Both the charity and both the foundation and my pets, Toga and Nevermore. Then Gym Toy Center, they run Ann Arbor Pride. Obviously, we run in Ann Arbor. We try to do as best as we can to give back to the community. They are a great resource for any LGBTQIA plus folk. They are very local. They will have representatives at the show, as far as I know. And then Safe House, which is an outreach organization for domestic abuse victims that is located in Ann Arbor, Michigan as well. Everybody that has chosen those is on the website. Back to what I was saying. 25 goes to the wrestler, 25 goes to the charity. When you make that charitable donation is going to be made in the wrestler's name, Divine Pro's name, Uplift's name, but more importantly, your name. It is going to be on there. And so if it comes to a thing where you are cool and you just want to upload it, or you just want it and we will lump everything together and everybody's name will be on it all at once, that is cool. If you want if you want it to be individually donated because you want a tax write-off on a slip, I can get you that too. That is the level that I am going to, transparent-wise, so you know your money went where you wanted it to go. And that's important to us. It's important that we give back to the community, and it's important that we take care of the wrestlers that are on the show.
Definitely.
I'm not here to make money. We're here to make memories. We're here to make it so our talented roster can get places that they never thought, that they'd only dreamt of getting to. That's why we do this. That's why I do it. That's why Peapod does it. That's why Kevin, who you don't see behind the scenes, does it. That's why Annie does it. That's why Summer and Gil and Ren, our photographer, and Trevor, our DJ. That's why we do it. Yeah, they get paid too, but that's why we do it.
Yeah, no. I get you there. I know. I love hearing about that because there's so much out there about charity stuff being done for charities and it not going to wherever it was saying it was going to go. So to know that it is indeed going to go exactly where you guys saying it's going to go is always a breath of fresh air, because Lord knows, without going into details, I've ran into some craziness with that sort of stuff with my own dang wrestling career. So Yeah.
And part of it that was important to us is that we chose local charities. It is absolutely nothing wrong with the work that is done with the Trevor Project and Trans Lifeline. Nothing against them at all. I think they're
Oh yeah.
creators that do incredible jobs for them. Specifically in Magic the Gathering, the professor does stuff for Trans Lifeline, gets
Oh
a
yeah.
ton of stuff for them. The Trevor Project gets a lot of donations from places, and they do great work.
Oh
But
yeah.
we wanted it to go back to the community that is supporting us, the community that's
Oh
showing up
yeah.
for our shows. We want to be able to let them know if you show up for us, we're going to show up for you.
For sure.
And that's really what it boils down to for us is being able to give back. I won't say I'm a native to Ann Arbor. I grew up south of Ann Arbor in a town. Now I live about 20 minutes east of there. But it was a home. That's where I went as a kid. That's where I went as a kid. My mom is a lifetime U of M employee. I grew up there, went to the hospital there. I've gone to plays there. I spend my money there. I try to do the best I can to give back to the community. I mean, it's something that means something to us, and we just love the fact that Uplift has embraced us as one of their own. We don't feel like a stranger. We don't ever feel like we walk into that building and it's like a VFW or a bingo hall, which those have been great too, but those have always been like, hey, you paid for your time here, and then at the end of it, clean up and you got to do this and you got to do that. At no point is there that. We're like, hey, the show's over. We want to leave the building in better shape than we got there. And that's hard to do because they take care of it. Like they take care of their stuff. They make sure stuff's cleaned up. So it's real hard to do that. Um, anyway, sorry, I petered off on that.
Ah,
Divine Pro Wrestling, simpletix.com. That's where you can find tickets. If you're interested in the sponsorship information, please message the Divine Pro Wrestling page. We can go through stuff that way to make sure that we gather all of your information appropriately. We want to make sure everybody is handled to the fullest. Make sure we get all the information correct. Then, if you're looking for us, you can find us on Facebook at Divine Women's Pro Wrestling. You can find us on Instagram at Divine Pro Wrestling. It'll be the one, trust me, it'll be like actively being updated. There might be another one out there. You can find us on Blue Sky. We're not really on that a ton, but we are there. And then at the moment, the rest of our shows are still on Title Match. I don't know how long that'll be, but more importantly, we do have a new partner for streaming home, Hooked on Wrestling. We followed our friends Flo. We went over to Hooked on Wrestling UK. Hooked on Wrestling is owned by the same people, or is owned partly, I believe, by Progress and Defy, which was recently bought by Nikki Storm and Big Damo. So
yeah.
they're doing really cool things. Check us out there, please. The UK crowd has been phenomenal so far in the response that they've had to us. We would absolutely love to continue to grow that relationship. Hopefully, be able to send some of the girls over there on
Oh yeah.
like a mini tour. That would be
That would
really
be great.
cool. Um, yeah, so it's shout out to all of our partners that have been making everything happen. Shout out to my wife. 10-year anniversary was this week. I appreciate her and letting us do, letting me do this and her being part of it and, pushing to do it. Truthfully, there was a time that we were thinking about not doing this, and she kind of just looked at it and went, but if you don't do it, no one else will. And that's that was kind of a driving force behind making sure everybody's taken care of. Shout out to my kid, she's freaking dope. She just finished first grade, or she's finishing first grade. Just that. Shout out to my cats, my dog, who are actually really quiet during this. I appreciate that, and most importantly, shout out to Mo for having me
Thank you.
on for a third time.
Oh yeah. No, always a pleasure. And yes, I could say the same thing about my wife because she knows that if I were I could stop doing it, but then for some reason I would just feel like So she constantly pushing me to keep it going. My little guy, love him to death because heck with I I don't think I've mentioned this on this show, but having to say goodbye to my dog, if it weren't for that little guy, I'd probably be dealing with it a hell of a lot worse than I have been. So got that, but hey, I am thankful to have had you on for a third time, and I look forward to it happening again because I'm a big supporter for everything you guys are doing over there at Divine.
Absolutely. Our next show, by the way, after this one, after the June show, we're not running in until October. I know it's a little bit of a stretch. However, we are running on October 3rd. So all you millennials, get your Mean Girl jokes out of the way right now, or join us and make them then, because Divine Pro Wrestling presents the Burn Book on October 3rd. Just remember, you asked me what day it was. It's October 3rd.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one, man.
Have a good one, Mo.
Like the fucking button again. I'm telling you,